Welcome into Views from the Stands. I had a little bit of technical difficulty there for a second, and it did not play the amazing intro video, but hey, that's what live video is all about, man. All right, well, anyways, if you didn't know, we are live, as Bruce
live, babe.
All right, well, welcome into Views from the Stands on a Saturday morning. Thank you for waking up with us, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe as much as possible. Like we've already said a couple of times, we are Views from the Stands, and we have a jam-packed show for you today. Today, we're going to go over the NBA All-Star Reserves, the NFL awards, including that more important MVP talk, and we got a really, really fun DownBad Debate for you guys. Well, we also have a lot to promote here. So, Mr. G, Mike, why don't you go ahead and get us started, man, and tell us what the people you got going on, man.
Yes, sir. Guys, I run a Telegram channel where we offer sports gambling slips to get you winnings from $50 to $100 to $150 a day. Just recently, we have upped our price to $10 a month, and that is because we have started an affiliate program where it offers you guys to make money off of anybody you invite into the chat on a monthly subscription basis. So we're very excited for that. It's a new venture in our business, but hopefully you guys can come in and try to make some money with us on these teams winning these games, baby.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. BC, my man, you got stuff going on too. Why don't you let the good people know how they get a hold of you and what you got going on?
Well, that's right. Oh my gosh. Wow. Starting off the morning a little slow there. So as you guys know, I know, right? It's the hat. It's just way down. Heavy. Yeah. Yippee-ki-yay. Heavy is the head that wears the hat. But if you guys have been watching, the show for any length of time now, you guys already know my wife and I got a small business. We do photography, videography. We specialize in a wide variety from stuff from couples portraits, engagements, weddings, family photos, senior portraits, you name it, we got it. It's at branddesk.media. Like obviously senior season's coming up. Like we're about to, like graduation's about to come up. You guys need those big pictures, those last minute things. Head over to branddesk.media. We got our portfolios on there. You can check out to see if our style is what you guys want. If not, it's all good. It's all love. But once again, branddesk.media, Central Florida. We're here making memories that last a lifetime.
And forever is a mighty, mighty long time, my man. Forever is a mighty, mighty long time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I also want to give a shout out to one of our new affiliates we got going on, Varsity Sports Nation. And my man, they are a fantastic channel. We just started this partnership with these guys, and they are going to be able to promote high school football, local colleges. It's also free for you to join. You can check us out on iOS. You can check us out on your Android. No hate against Android or Apple. You don't have to have that battle. You can also check them out on your Fire TV stick, your Roku TV. They are anywhere you want to get sports, and really appreciate all of what they're doing for us, man. Also, man, I cannot forget about it, man. We got our other guys, Millions. G Mike, why don't you go ahead and let the people know a little bit more about Millions, man? We're blowing up over here, guys.
Yeah, Millions is a small-time company for now, a small-time media company, but they're blowing up. They have athletes getting interviewed, coming on to the show. They have ourselves hosting a UFC watch party later that will start at 12 p.m. Eastern for the fight card today, which would be free. And, bro, they're coming up in the world of sports media. We're coming up with them, and it's a very exciting adventure for us. And hopefully we can get a lot of exposure off of each other.
Sir.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great company, man, and check them out. They also, it's all about convenience anymore, and they also have an app as well. You can download the app and check us out on there. And there's millions. There we go. They have millions of different content on there that you can watch and check out.
And we're live on there right now, baby.
Yes,
we're
sir.
Live right now, man. All right, guys, and hey, and also like George said this before, we're all about doing a little extra promotions here, and George is going to be doing a live of the free UFC event that's literally going on as we speak right now, and so yeah, if you guys want to check it out, the guys are going to try and jump on throughout and see if we can make it through. Obviously, it's a Saturday, so everybody's got stuff going on, but hey, G Mike is going to be representing for us out there, so appreciate that, Mr. G Mike. On about you guys, some sports. What do you guys think?
Do it.
Get it.
Oh, let's go. And like I advertised before, we have the All-Star Reserves. And let's go with the classic question here. Who should have made it and who's not on this list here, man? What do you guys think, Mr. G Mike? What you got first, man?
Dude, I was going over the stats yesterday, right? And before we get into the All-Star snubs and all this stuff, first I want to point out that I have this biggest pet peeve with the NBA, and they like to include all-stars that are on winning teams, right? Which in a sense I understand, but then again, like, this is a team game. It's 5-on-5 out there. It's not 1-on-5. You can't blame certain individuals for their team play because the team overall is not good when they're having a fantastic season. For example, LaMelo Ball. He's averaging 28 points per game. He's averaging 7 assists per game. He's averaging 6 rebounds per game, right? First of all, he didn't even make an all-star starter, which he should have started over Donovan Mitchell in my opinion. But I understand why they put Donovan Mitchell in there, because the Cleveland Cavaliers have the best record in the NBA right now. And he's the one leading the pack. But he's only dropping 24 points per game with 5 assists per game and 3 rebounds per game. So who's having the better stat line? But you know what? Let's leave Donovan Mitchell out of the mix. But let's look into the reserves. Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, even Damian Lillard this year. They're all not having better years than LaMelo Ball right now, bro. So my itch is the NBA. You need to really figure out if you're going to give these players the meaning of what it is for these awards. NBA All-Star, they're having the best season. The top 30 players in the game to get these awards, not because, oh, you know, they're on a winning team, so we're gonna just put in the second and 3 men of that, the number 2 men on that team and the number 3 men on that team to go into the Eastern Conference All-Stars. And I'm alluding to the Cleveland Cavaliers here. They have 3 All-Stars on that team. And it's like, if you put Darius Garland and Evan Mobley on a team that is sorry, I bet they won't be All-Stars. I bet they won't be All-Stars.
It's a fair point.
So that's one of my All-Star snubs, and I'm going to let you guys go because I have another one later on. Come back to me.
All right, Miss BC, what you got, man?
I will say one All-Star snub for me that I don't really understand as much. Domantas Sabonis from the Kings. Like, you know, I know obviously obviously 20 points per game, leading the league in boards per game. Again, probably going to get another rebounding title this year.
15 rebounds per game.
Exactly. 6 assists per game as well. Like we always talk about Nikola Jokic as, you know, the all-time greatest playmaking center, and that's true. But Domantas Sabonis is no slouch either. Like, he basically does a lot of what Jokic has been doing this year, minus the 3 ball. But, you know, that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, 20 points, 15 boards, or 6 assists. Like, how is this guy not at least a reserve? And it's just one of those things that's frustrating to see. And again, it seems like the goalposts kind of shift here and there for different players. Like we said, we like to reward teams, you know, we like to award teams or players that are on successful teams. And it's like, okay, that's works for some years. And then other years we just kind of switch it up entirely. Like, oh, well, yeah, this guy's having a monster season. Like, can we just pick a lane and stick to it? Exactly. You know, like I said, like there needs to be some kind of statistical relevance to this conversation. But yeah, Domantas is one. One that, you know, I kind of understand the ambition, but I'm kind of a little peeved at Franz Wagner with the Magic. I mean, before he went down with the
that was injuries.
I know, but I will say though, before the injury bug hit him, he was having a case for one of those underrated MVP type.
What about Pablo? What about Pablo, number 1 guy in Orlando Magic?
Well, we also need to preface this as well, is that these are the reserves, so there is still a chance for some of these guys. We don't know what's coming out, but I agree. I don't think either of those Magic players are going to be on there.
Yeah, and I don't think that Sabonis is going to get love either. Like I said, like I feel like the West has a lot of guys that they're gonna give the nods to who they usually give the nod to, and it's like, okay, I get it, I understand, but at the same time, it's like, but this guy's having a great season. Like, come on.
Yeah, my gripe is, I'm going to keep it because it's my team, is the Dallas Mavs. You know, I know they're having a little bit of off year that they did last year, but they're sitting third in their division. But how about Kyrie Irving, man? Kyrie Irving is averaging 24.3 points a game. You know, and on top of it too, Luka's out and he's been carrying the team. So how Kyrie, one of the most popular players, for sometimes good, sometimes bad, one of the most talked about players in the league, and yet he is not on this list at all. I don't know. I kind of have an issue with that.
They put Jalen Williams in front of him because the OKC have the best record in the West, and he's the number 2 player on that team. But he's dropping 21 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game. That's not better number than Kyrie right now, bro.
Right.
Yeah,
Kyrie's carrying the team.
Well, and Kyrie's doing it on over 50% from the field and over 40 from 3. So, like, my guy's not just carrying him, like, he's doing it efficiently. So,
yeah, exactly. He's not playing. He's playing great basketball, like flat out great basketball. But yeah, I kind of thought that was an issue with that as well. And we're definitely going to have some more All-Star talk. Obviously, the game's in a couple weeks. But we'll be actually going over next week, I believe, the actual starters, and of course, we'll probably have some gripes with that as well.
I really want to talk at some point about how are we going to judge? Like, I want to have a talk one day about like all NBA, all star, like all this stuff, because it's like you've got one where, oh, well, it's the fan vote. The other time it's, oh, well, this is the writers, this is this. And it's like, can we just get some consistency across the board? Like, well, I don't know. It's
the fan vote is the starters. The reserves are the coaches. The coaches are the ones that pick the reserves, right?
Yeah.
So even thinking from a coaching standpoint, how do you think that Jaren Jackson Jr. averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists is having a better year than Domantas Sabonis, who's dropping 20 points per game, 15 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game? How do you think that is?
How he did it.
Their biggest argument is going to be defense, but again,
dude, bro,
the point of the game is to put points on the board, and it's to also you get boards as well. Like, I think a lot of times people look at rebounding as something that's, oh, it's just its own separate thing. It's like, no, like rebounding does play a factor on both ends of the court. So like, I think rebounding should have a part to play on defense. So, you know, like you're boxing out, you're doing your job. Like that's not, he's not going to give you like 2 blocks a game, 2 steals a game like Jaren Jackson's going to do a lot of times, but he still contributes in other ways. So.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson is a way better defender. I'll give.
Yeah, on ball for sure. Yeah,
we're going off of the players that are having the better season, bro.
Yeah,
their better season, and it's like, bro, top 30 players in the NBA each year. Obviously, you don't go off past years; you go off the years that they're having right there.
Yeah,
Jaren Jackson is not having a better year than Sabonis. I'm sorry, he's not.
Yeah. Okay. Again, it's how much does name recognition mean in this kind of stuff, and it's like it's so tiresome to just hear guys that, yes, they're bigger names for sure, Triple J versus Domantas, but like how much longer are we going to keep going with this where we just give a guy's famous?
It could possibly be the fact of like they're 24 and 23 right now, sitting third in their conference. Same thing with Dallas as well, where Kyrie may have got the snub. So maybe they're just going very top heavy with who's got a winning record. But I agree with the NBA. With the NBA, it's a little bit different. It's so personalized. It's so one man can change everything type of league. NFL. That's different with MVPs and stuff like that. Like that, it's a team sport. But in NBA, one player can single-handedly take over the entire game and take over everything. So
yeah, if you're asking me,
a little bit more love to those two in particular, and there's the list goes on. But I think those two in particular.
If I have to choose right now, for example, like if I'm the Magic and I got to choose which of these 2 guys I want on my team, Sabonis or Triple J, like at this point in this season, give me Sabonis because he gives you,
bro,
he's just providing more.
Dude, if you're gonna start an NBA franchise, you got Triple J or you got Sabonis.
Yeah,
I'll put $1,000 right now that 80% of people are gonna pick Sabonis.
Yep, a big that is basically the second best playmaking guy in the league and gives you 15 boards a night and can also be very efficient from the field. Like,
I'll play the devil's advocate in that one. Then maybe just the fact that they're on a better team and that people would go with what the better player because they're on the better team. So Sabonis might not be the 80% pick that you think because the Sacramento Kings. I only know one person actually watches Kings basketball. Who watches Kings basketball? So maybe that's what it is possibly. But and neither one of them are in major markets.
Exactly. That's where my itch comes in. Like if we're picking all-stars, top 30 players in the league. It shouldn't be off of wins. It should be on their play because there are just some teams that are not good. And then you got players that are on good teams that are they're freaking nasty. Like Shaq, like LeBron, like Jason Tatum. Like they're great teams. They're great teams overall. But when you do the individual stats, just like Tyler Hero, for instance. The Heat are not that good. They're all right. They're 7th in the East right now, but he's been having a phenomenal year, a better year than Donovan Mitchell. If you look at the numbers, But obviously, Donovan Mitchell's on a better team because their team overall is just better than the Miami Heat.
Yeah. Well, and some guys though too, like some teams, they have great records and everything, and but it's more of the team is the sum of their parts, not really the guys that drive the engine moving forward. Like if that makes any sense, like it's more of a team effort. It's a collaborative effort than this guy is just that dominant. He's carrying the load. Yeah, it's one thing. As much as I don't like LeBron, it's one thing to be like, okay, like this team is great because he is the driving force. He's making them great. It's another thing to be like, yeah, there's these 3 or 4 guys that are making the team great, and they're having good seasons, but they're not elite like the '04 Pistons. Aside from like maybe a Ben Wallace, who would you legitimately say would be like, oh yeah, that guy's an all-star for sure? Like Chauncey Billups,
the Pistons this year.
Prince,
the Pistons
maybe?
this year.
Yeah,
I mean, Kate Cunningham 100% deserves it. In my opinion, I think he should be an all-star 100%.
Well, like
but
04,
the team,
but like 04.
the team surrounding him as well is what makes him like that much better. You get what I'm saying? Like if he's giving alley hoops or dishing the ball in tight spaces to Jalen Duren, and Jalen Duren is grabbing 15 points, 15 boards per game, but still putting up 12 points per game with that assist that Kate Cunningham's getting him. He's going to get chances to get open, to create his shot when he comes off the pick and roll. It's either he's going to dish or he's going to take the shot himself. He has opportunity to get assists, and he has opportunity to drop 30-point games like he did last night.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, we definitely have a bunch of all-star talk to come up as well. So we'll definitely be digressing from this for now because we definitely have next week major all-star talk, man. We got the new format. There's a lot to talk about to digress or meant to digest with the NBA All-Stars.
I don't think there's any more of a contentious subject in all of sports than all-star votes. Like that, this is probably arguably what we're going to talk about next, but pretty much it's anything, any subjectivity like this. It's like, nothing grinds sports fans' gears more.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, that's what we call a perfect segue. We're going to go ahead and get into something else that's going to be debated here, and that is the NFL honors. The NFL honors is coming on Thursday, and so we're going to go ahead and give our takes on who we think is going to win each award. We're going to start with not the sexiest position there is, but we're going to start with the assistant coach. If you can't see all this, we got Joe Brady, Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson. G. Mike, you're underneath me, so you're going first, my man. Who are you picking as your assistant coach of the year?
No Diddy.
I was going to say you're above me, you're below me, but that might have been dirty,
Dude, the Detroit Lions have had a phenomenal year, and that offense was number 1 throughout each and every week. So I got to give it to Ben Johnson here, man. This guy was just going out there with any play possible and executing it, from the run game to the pass game to the trickery plays to the touchdown passes to the O-lineman. And it was just the creativity was there. It was on display on full effect, and I love to see it. I know you guys love to see it too. The Lions went from just having Ben Johnson there in the past few years. They went from one of the worst teams in the league to one of the best teams in the league. Yeah, it's unfortunate they didn't get to where they needed to get to in the Super Bowl, where a lot of people have them going to. But, that all comes down to injuries and unluckiness and unfortunate stuff happening. But in all, man, Ben Johnson did an amazing job there in Detroit. Now he's in the Chicago Bears as the head coach. But with that offense that he was running there in Detroit, man, they were unstoppable.
Yeah, and I will say as well, like, just maybe give some flowers to the other side of the ball too for Aaron Glenn having to put up with like all the injuries on the defensive side and still treading water for that defense this year. That's pretty remarkable too. And it's Ben Johnson's a good pick, but sticking to defense, just kind of segueing from my pick, for me, Vic Fangio, Eagles. Like you've got two rookies starting on the outside at corner with Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, and then you've got a not relative unknown, but a guy that kind of came out of nowhere with Zach Bond. Now he's Defensive Player of the Year finalist. Like it's like that defense has been, I think, second in scoring, number 1 in yards. Like it's basically a no fly zone in Philly. So shout out to all the throwback Broncos fans right there. But it's been great defense, and I think that just considering again 2 rookies on the outside, relative unknown just becomes a superstar. In the middle at linebacker, I got to give props to Vic Fangio on Philly. It's not easy for me to say because I do not like Philly at all, but props due where it's due. Yes, but I will say as well before we move forward as well, Steve, with yours, like real quick, Liam Cohen, even though he snubbed my Bucks, number 5 or top 5 offense in both passing, rushing, and scoring. How does that man not get named a finalist for this? Like, come on.
I can tell you exactly why. If you guys are ready at the same time, we can all try it. Oh. That's why he didn't get it. They saw that video and said, "Nah, man, you can."
You know, if that's
the reason for it. If you haven't seen the video yet, you got to go out and watch it.
You know what it is, though. You know what it is that BC talks about the Buccaneers so much that they're like, yo, they get so much love from BC. We need to give it to somebody.
I need a pay raise or something like that. I'm keeping us afloat. But
yo,
honestly,
you're doing free ads, bro. You're doing free ads.
That's true. I got to start charging him for it. But yeah, honestly, if that comes out, if that's why he doesn't get it, you know what? I can sleep better, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, so I'll go with my pick here, and I'm actually going to go with Joe Brady. I think that Joe Brady had a hell of a year, almost single-handedly transformed Josh Allen into, they did exactly what Josh Allen needed to do. Josh Allen needed to not try to be Superman all the time. They set records, I believe, for most touchdown passes to opposing players. Excuse me, not opposing players, to multiple different players. Bad thing. Sorry, that was my bad on that one. We're live. Having said that, to most touchdowns by every player on the team, pretty much. Almost everybody on that entire offense got a damn touchdown. So I'm going to go Joe Brady in this one, as I think he single-handedly changed Josh Allen. So we'll go ahead and recap real quick in case you guys didn't get a chance to see it. I'll go first. I'm going Joe Brady of the Buffalo Bills. BC, who you got?
I got to go to Vic Fangio and that #1 defense in Philly.
I got Ben Johnson on the #1 offense in Detroit, for sure.
Do it.
Fantastic. Can't go wrong with any of these guys. All right, sticking with the coaching ranks, we are going to move on to the coach of the year. And if you can't see the visual on the screen, we got Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, and Andy Reid. And I'm not going to lie, this year, I really think coaching was a major factor. All of these guys are absolutely deserving. If I'm going to go with my pick, I'm going to go with, wrong one. Sorry about that. I'm going to go actually with Kevin O'Connell. I think Kevin O'Connell had a fantastic year. I think that Kevin O'Connell had Sam Darnold. Granted, you can go with Dan Quinn with a rookie quarterback, but I'm going to go with Kevin O'Connell here. Sam Darnold had a career year and a resurgence, and he's also up for our next award we're going to talk about in a minute for the comeback play of the year. But Sam Darnold had one heck of a year and did amazing stuff for the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of people didn't even have Minnesota Vikings even making the playoffs or even winning a few games with all the injuries and everything that happened in the preseason with the Minnesota Vikings. So if I had to pick, I'm going to go Kevin O'Connell with this one. G-Mike, what you got?
I got Dan Quinn, man. I think what he did in Washington is phenomenal. His first year there, he took a team that drafted second in the NFL draft. And when you think a team is drafting in the second NFL draft, you think that the next year they're going to be trash as well. Well, that's not the case. They went from being the second pick in the NFL draft to going to the NFC Championship game. And it's like, dude, great turnaround right there. Yeah, the defense wasn't where you would think Dan Quinn's defense would be, but it was a lot to do to personnel and injuries. But the offense, man, like the rookie quarterback, the sensation Jaden Daniels, he really showed that he can be a top QB in this league. And right now, in my opinion, top 10 for sure. He could easily get Offensive Rookie of the Year. He could easily be in the top 10 voting for MVP of the year.
How about Cliff Kingsbury didn't get any love in the assistant coach of the year? And you're completely right. For everything you just said, Cliff Kingsbury had a rookie quarterback, and that rookie quarterback did not play like a rookie quarterback.
The only thing is that their running game wasn't up to par compared to Ben Johnson, compared to Joe Brady.
I can buy that. I'm just saying, though.
You need both. You need the passing and the running because they're not going to give it to you just off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, man, the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn, man, they really showed something. They really showed that they can be a great team in this league, and there's a lot of promising stuff. We're looking forward for that rookie sensation quarterback, Jaden Daniels, and that whole offense.
BC, who's your pick, buddy?
I mean, all these are great cases you guys are making, and so it's like, man, this just makes my case a little bit harder to make. But of all these guys that are on the list, only one of them is still playing games up to this point. And, I know it's going to be I know. It's one of those things like, oh, well, you know, we know what the coach of the year is for. The guy that takes the team that's not expected to do this or do that, and he makes them great. That's awesome. But let's be honest here. All right. The best guy on this list is Andy Reid. It's been that way for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And
you just said it right there. You just said it right there. The last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. We're talking about let me explain. This season.
I know. What I'm saying is though, and he's continued to prove why he has been at this season. Patrick Mahomes having a bit of an off year. The offense not quite what we usually expect from them, but they still found ways to win. They found ways to win with their defense, which is something we've never really been praising Kansas City for. It's always been the Patty Mahomes and Travis Kelce show. And also too, they have lost their fair share of great starters on that end of the football as well. Really, the biggest consistency on that side of the ball has been Chris Jones, and they almost lost him this year as well. But they have continued to pump out win after win, and like you said, like we alluded to at the beginning, it's been because of the coaching, the play calling, the clock management, everything that they needed to do.
17 straight 1-point games, like
exactly, and stuff like that does, I think. Yeah, and I think stuff like that does come down to coaching, how you play call. And let's be honest, Andy Reid was calling most of the plays on offense. He knows how to relate to his players. He knows how to get the most out of them, and he knows situationally what is the best time to call this play and when. And he's showed that this year. Nobody has been more clutch in terms of coaching, I think, than Andy Reid. And he's got his team now set up for success. Arguably, this is probably the weakest offense in Kansas City that we've seen, and yet they're still able to crank out the wins. So, and he's got them set up now to be the first team in history to three-peat. So, you know, for me, it's one of those things where for us, we've always known he's been the best coach in the league, but I think this year has really shown like why he's done it with the closeness of the games, the fact that they're still the number 1 seed in the AFC, even though they lost all of these players over the years. And he's just been able to get the most out of a struggling offense and a defense that, aside from Chris Jones, didn't really have a lot of name recognition. So I got to tip the hat to Andy Reid. Him in Kansas City, like he deserves it. And I think it'd be interesting to see like him getting Coach of the Year. And if Kansas City pops off in the big game, cap it off with a three-peat, man.
How about that? We got to give some love. We're giving love to everybody on this list because I think all these guys are deserving. But Sean Payton, man, did a hell of a job, man. The Denver Broncos. Nobody really had them even making the playoffs. Nobody had them doing much of anything. They had a rookie quarterback as well with Bo Nix. As much as we're going to give Dan Quinn some love, Sean Payton did a hell of a job as well, man. The Denver Broncos were kind of in disarray, and Sean Payton, you know, did his thing. He finally started to take control, and you can see the difference in the team. And I think Bo Nix is the real deal. I think that's a perfect fit for them too. So we're going to go ahead and just go back over our picks real quick. But all these guys on here, and who doesn't love Dan Campbell? I mean, you know, Dan Campbell.
We're not giving Dan Campbell praise, and he's
all these guys deserve praise. Yeah.
Right, and I really do think everybody on this list is absolutely deserving. Sometimes you can see a list and you're like, whatever, you know, like we're just with the All-Star snubs and all stars. Like, you can find right. All these guys are legitimately great coaches, and they coach. Dan Campbell is just a different story because he did happen to have Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, who are also assistant coaches up for assistant coach of the year. So I think Dan Campbell kind of gets forgotten about the motivator, the guy that he is. But you know, I don't think he's going to win. Yeah, you know, just watching any kind of interview with that guy afterwards. But all right, so one more time we'll go over this list and make sure you guys are all on the same page with it. So I'm taking Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings. G Mike, who you got?
I got Dan Quinn of the Washington Commanders, the Commies.
Mr. BC, what you got?
I got the GOAT, Andy Reid.
He is the GOAT.
Chief Pete.
He is the GOAT.
There we go. All right, so moving
real quick. Him or Bill Belichick?
Ooh, that's gonna be tough. I will say if they three-peat, it's gonna be pretty hard to keep him out of that conversation. I mean, I know there's less Super Bowls, but like Bill Belichick never three-peated, and when he had a chance to have the perfect season, he blew it. So,
to be honest, I'm going Belichick.
Did he blow it? Did he blow it?
I think they all blew it.
I think it's a collective there.
I think in terms of like, I will say this: Belichick's
probably Manny's is just the freaking Patriot slayer.
He's the GOAT in Super Bowl. But no, I would say Belichick in terms of like defense. I don't think there's really any head coach that would be better.
I agree with that.
In terms of offense, in terms of offensive head coaching though, Andy Reid's probably the best.
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
tend to, if we're going that scenario, I tend to just go with Belichick because he is, I don't even know. That's hard to say because you can't say that Andy Reid's not prepared, but Belichick just always seemed like he was prepared for everything. Maybe because Spygate, who the hell knows? All I'm saying is that he always seemed to know what the hell's going on. I do love using Andy Reid, though. Andy Reid is just.
How many times has Andy Reid been caught circumventing the rules? I'll say that.
Never.
Yeah, I'll say that.
I don't know.
He's just good at hiding it. He's just good.
I would just
he hides it in his
stick
cheeseburgers.
with Belichick. I was going one game scenario. Man, give me Belichick. I just think he'd be more prepared.
Give me Andy Reid. I'll
go if Belichick takes North Carolina to the college football playoffs, I got to give it to Belichick 100%.
How crazy is that going to be if they do that? And then it's
I think they will, bro. No lie. I think they will, bro.
You know the Brady Belichick thing is going to be reignited after that. And Brady's going to come out of retirement to quarterback the Raiders. Watch.
Bro, as of right now, it's only 12 spots.
Brady's getting $700 million to call games, bro.
He's gonna call the games as
he's not gonna come back.
No, he's gonna do
both.
He's
making more money in 7 years than he is, or in 10 years. I think with 10-year contract. Than he is with the whole NFL.
What do you think, Tom Brady's Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro? Like he ain't gonna be coaching.
He's gonna be GM. He's gonna be play calling, and he's gonna be quarterbacking all at the same time. It's gonna happen.
The last time anybody's done something like that? What was it Bill Russell?
He's gonna be a model. He's gonna be a superhero in a movie.
All right, so we're moving on to the comeback player of the year, and these finalists are Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, and we ain't kidding, Christian Gonzalez and Damar Hamlin. All right, DC, we're going to have you start this one off. Who do you like in the comeback player of the year? And honestly, before I say that real quick, why is Joe Burrow in here? And
he messed up his knee. He's messed up his knee last year and he didn't play.
They're just trying to get this guy an award because, he's not probably going to win MVP. They're just trying to get him something because of the season he had. But, comeback player of the year, come on, man.
I don't like him on the list either. I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't either. And I'll just say this. If I had to pick the MVP, it would have been Joe Burrow. But because they stuck him on here and because, like you said, they're going to they're trying to give him something because he had such a great season. I feel like J.K. Dobbins should get it because rupturing your Achilles this day and age is like the new ACL tear.
The knee before that.
That dude has more knee damage than I have. And then, my gosh, that.
Well, you're also a professional football player, so it makes sense.
Yeah, well. But I mean, like I said, though, that's
he's a professional cowboy.
Yeah, there we go. Professional cowboy. Rhinestone cowboy. But shout out to the Osceola Ranchers. Anyway, J.K. Dobbins should win this award. I'm just gonna say that plain and simple. Okay. Like I said, ACL rupture. That should be something that ends your career, or at least it should prevent you from ever reaching the levels that Dobbins reached. He should win it, but because the way the narrative is going to be set up, they're going to give it to Burrow. He's just every other award he's up for, he's not going to win, and we'll explain why later. But it's going to be Joe Burrow. I don't like saying it. I think this kind of goes against what comeback player of the year should be. It shouldn't be an award, I think, where you just give to somebody that kind of played a little bit and was kind of a contributor, but didn't really do a whole lot. But I also don't think that it should be a consolation prize because you didn't win these other awards. So I don't like it, but I'm going to reluctantly go with Joe Burrow here in this one.
All right, so your pick, you think that's going to win. Your pick would be...
My pick would be Dobbins, but I'm going to say... Okay. But the NFL is going to go with Burrow. Yeah, narrative's going to be Burrow.
All right, G-Mike, what you got?
I got JK too, man. I mean, he was a big part of that Chargers offense. He's one of the big reasons why they made the playoffs. Obviously, they got Justin Herbert over there, but Justin Herbert's throwing to guys like us. Guys are not catching the ball out there. Even though Luke, I forgot how to pronounce his name, but the rookie, Conky, thank you. Yeah. The rookie wide receiver, he had a phenomenal year, and I think he's going to keep having phenomenal years. But he was playing the slot position most of the time, so it's hard for him to really get open like that, even though he was getting open like that because you got linebackers covering you, corners and safeties watching.
You need a number one.
But you need a number one, a number two at least, and he could be a number two, but you want bigger guys on the outside so they cause more of a threat, so the teams can play more cover two zone and stuff like that.
He plays Chris Godwin really well.
Yeah. But J.K. Dobbins, man, coming off of major knee surgery, Achilles tear. Then coming back and having such a great season for the Chargers, helping them lead the way into the playoffs, man, I think it was freaking phenomenal. And I think he's going to have better seasons with the Chargers. And obviously with the head coach that loves to run the ball, I think is going to be a great recipe for success.
All right, so I'll go opposite you guys. I'm going to go Sam Darnold. I think it's not the fact of injury that happened to Sam Darnold. It was just the actual resurgence of Sam Darnold. That why he was number 1, number 2 pick. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember what it was, but Sam Darnold had an absolutely amazing year, a career year. You guys made fun of me a couple of weeks ago because I was saying that he possibly could be up for MVP kind of thing, but I think Sam Darnold was in that caliber of he's on that tier on the outside. I don't think he should have been up for an award for it. But I do think that he definitely should be in that conversation. He had a hell of a year. That's also my narrative with Kevin O'Connell. I think the Minnesota Vikings were very impressive this year. Although Sam Darnold did fall apart when it mattered in the very end, he went back to looking average at best. But if you go over his overall package of the year, I think that he had a fantastic year. So I'm going to go Sam Darnold, and it's not because of injury. It's just because the guy flat out played. Now, I agree with you, BC, completely that Joe Burrow deserves, they should just give him like a gold medal for something, because I agree. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. And the season that he had was absolutely amazing. But comeback player of the year, I'm going to go with Sam Darnold, because Sam Darnold, I think, is going to get re-signed either with Minnesota or going to go to another franchise and be a starter again. And that's what actually being a comeback player besides injury. It's not it has to be injury. It's literally resurging your career. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Sam Darnold in this one.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say that was one that was kind of tough for me too, because that was literally Baker last year, and he got snubbed for comeback player of the year. So yeah, it's I would say
that's a great one that got snubbed, I think, in this one as well, because Baker literally was pretty much held out to dry. So I agree with you on that one.
He got snubbed in the Pro Bowl voting, which pissed me off, but that's again topic for another day. But yeah, I will say like this. I will say this needs to be one where we look at it as like you weren't expected to do much and you came out of nowhere, or you were injured and you had a great season. And again, I know Burrow technically had that happen, but he's also already won comeback player of the year. So it's like, we're going to really make this guy a we have 2 guys on the list that could be 2-time comeback player of the year. Like, and one of them's could be consecutive, or no, not consecutive, because that was the year before. But it's like, what are we doing? We're doing like 2 comeback player of the years. Like that's
if we're gonna go that route, then all right, guys, we get it. Damar Hamlin, something happened to you. Like, come on, man. Are you really like? How many times are we gonna be able to say that you're comeback guy of the year? Come on.
That's what I was gonna say. Why is he on this list? That was last year. Like, I get it, last year, 100%.
Yeah, you had a horrible thing happen to you, but there's other guys that could maybe deserve that.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like we're just handing it out to, at this point. It's gonna be given to Joe Burrow, but it's like, honestly, it should be either between Darnold or Dobbins, because they're the best stories in terms of those perspective qualities of either injury or a career resurgence, in my opinion.
All right, so we'll go ahead and break this down one more time. BC, go ahead and what's your pick?
Reluctantly Joe Burrow, but G-Mike's got the right pick, in my opinion.
G-Mike, what's your pick?
J.K. Dobbins, man. Bad injury to his knee, bad to his Achilles, comes back, has a great year for the Chargers, takes them to the playoffs.
All right, I'm going to go Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold for the 4,319 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and it had a QBR of 60.5. That's a hell of a year for Sam Darnold. So I'm going to go Sam Darnold as my comeback player of the year. Yep. All right, gents. Well, we're moving along here, and we got the next one up, defensive player of the year. And I'll go ahead and start this one off. I'm going with one of my favorite players in the league, Myles Garrett. That was my pick from the start of the season for the defensive player of the year. I'm going to stick with my guy, Myles Garrett. Man, that guy is a freak. He needs to get the hell out of Cleveland. They are ruining this guy's career. But I'm going to go Myles Garrett in this one, man. I love me some Myles Garrett. G-Mike, what you got?
See, this is another award where I think defensive line should have their own award, right? Because my pick is Patrick Surtain. And the reason I'm saying this is because when it comes to the stat sheet, corners don't get a lot of input into the stat sheets because it's either they only get tackles, deflections, or interceptions. And for them to get interceptions is pretty tough. You probably only see corners get like 6 receptions a year. If they're really great, maybe 8 or 9. But most of the time they're getting tackles, of course, because they got to tackle the receiver, and then deflections. But they're not putting on the stat sheet of what they're doing to these top receivers, slowing them down, not letting them be able to get open, not letting them be able to get comfortable and trying to catch the ball or run a route. Like there's a lot of mishaps that happen with the corners. And again, with D linemen, I see why they get the awards, because most of the time, they're tackling the running back, they're pressuring the QB, they're fighting off the O line that is trying to block them. And they get a lot of praise because you see them involved more in the play than a corner would. So I think with this award, they need to change it up a little bit, just like how I feel with the MVP. But yeah, my pick is going to be Patrick Surtain. I think he did a lot against top receivers. Obviously, you can't stop top receivers. That's why they're top receivers. But he still did work against them. And he is one of the reasons why the Denver Broncos went to the playoffs.
Agreed. And to piggyback of what you're saying as well, is that getting sacks is a hell of a lot sexier stat than shutting down a wide receiver. And how many times, he's like the second coming of Darrelle Revis. How many times did a receiver go on his side? They even throw on his side. Exactly. And Surtain shut it down. Absolutely. You had to game plan your receiver to move them around because Patrick Surtain was coming. So that was one of my when I saw the list, I totally agree with you. I think Surtain should have got a hell of a lot more love than he did. BC, your turn, man.
Yeah, and I will say, I want to shout out somebody let me just shout out someone on this list. Zach Bond, great story, led the league in tackles, had, double-digit tackles for loss. Amazing season for sure, and he's also, the linebackers considered the leader of the number 1 defense in the league, and that's great. But I do agree with G-Mike on this one. I think that the way Patrick Surtain, not just this season, but the last few seasons, has just been he's been one of the best, but you could potentially say the best shutdown corner in the league. It's basically Revis Island 2.0 out there.
Right. It's the second coming of Revis.
And if we're going to shout out team success as well in terms of, because last year, what was the argument for Myles Garrett? Oh, he doesn't have as many sacks as TJ Watt, but he's on also the best defense in the league. This year, Cleveland's nowhere near the top 20. So I feel like, for me, that's kind of why I take him out of it. Trey Hendrickson. Hey, I'm just saying, that was the big thing last year. This year, it's bro, come on, the argument's not there, at least in my opinion. But Patrick Surtain, the Broncos, number 3 scoring defense, number 7 in yards, so top 10, top 5-ish type defense. And like you said, G-Mike, they have some good players on that side of the ball, but without Surtain dominating, he held opposing quarterbacks to, when he was targeted, I believe his rating, the total QBR, or maybe even passer rating, was 58.2 or something, which is well below league average. So when opposing quarterbacks target him, it's basically pick your poison. You are screwed if you go to that side of the field. And like you said, that's not going to show up in the stat sheet. A lot of times when you decide not to throw to him, that's not going to show up. Be like, oh yeah, how many times did quarterbacks look his way, but they opted to go the other way because he's just on his man constantly. He's got 4 interceptions this year, and that's great. The amount of times he was targeted, and also too, he's got an interception return for a touchdown. But again, we're total QBR when targeted. A lot of these more advanced statistics, I think we need to start looking at to give the cornerback some love. And again, he was the leader on that side of the ball for one of the top 5 defenses in the league. And like you said, biggest reason why they made the playoffs is that defense. So I want to give some love to the secondary. Give it to Pat Surtain second.
I want to give a shout out real quick to my guy, Mr. Dale Morley. Love you, buddy. Thanks for checking in with us and watching the show. He's going with Patrick Surtain. And that's a very, very, very
PS2,
good one.
Baby.
Second. Yeah. Oh, I love that name. PS2. Let's go. That's a throwback.
I didn't make that up.
Damn it. That is good.
I didn't make that up. I can't.
No, but I mean, still, I love that, though. That gives me such good memories.
All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap the defensive MVP up real quick, and we'll go ahead and go back over our picks. If you didn't catch them, it is for me. I'm going Myles Garrett, although I do believe Patrick Surtain absolutely deserves it, but I'm going to stick with my pick for the beginning of the season and Myles Garrett. Mr. BC, who you got?
I gotta go with PS2, man. Patrick Surtain the second.
PS2, baby, bring it back.
There we go. Not a bad pick at all, my man. Not a bad pick at all. All right, so we're moving along here. We got the defensive rookie of the year. And, man, there are some great defensive players this year. If you can't see it up on the screen, we got Cooper DeJean, Brandon Fisk, Quinton I. Mitchell, Chomp Robinson, and Jared Verse. Mr. G. Mike, who you got first, my man?
Dude, man, this one's tough, man. This one's tough for me, bro, because I think that they all played amazingly. And, like the first time ever, if you guys do not know this, a white cornerback in the league, Cooper.
Yeah. How about that?
Hey, sometimes you got to give
Make a
praise to them
comeback.
too. I'm a Hispanic, you got to give praise to Hispanics. You got to give praise to all diversity. You know what I'm saying? So, hey,
Yep.
you know what it is to play corner? Corner is one of the hardest positions in football, in my opinion. And, dude,
Yeah.
to keep up with these elite, speedy receivers, man, he did a really good job out there in Philly. And look, he's about to play in the Super Bowl, man, as a rookie, starting as a rookie.
Yep.
But dude, man, I like Jared Verse, bro. Jared Verse, bro, what he did throughout the year was spectacular. And then in the playoffs as well, his first playoff game, he had 3 sacks. His second playoff game, he had 2 sacks against 2 top offenses in the league, man. And bro, the Rams haven't had a first round pick in what, 5 years?
I think it's 2016.
Yeah, like 5-6 years. And then the first pick that they get again was this guy that was doing phenomenal work out there, man. Dude, I just love the way that he passed rush. I love the way that he played rush defense, the way that he tackled. And wherever he was on the field, it looked like the offensive players were scared to go his way.
Yeah.
Before you go real quick, BC, I want to give another shout out and check into my guy, Mr. Jay Cable. He's one of the top R&B artists out there right now. One of my absolute best friends I've known for years. So if you ever get a chance, check out Jay Cable, check out his music. And seems to think I know what I'm talking about. So I will take that any day as well.
Agree.
So.
Steve does know what he's
Mr. BC, what you got?
Sports. I was about to say Steve knows sports, but
what do we want? Football. When do we want it? Football.
Now.
No, Jared Verse is a great pick. Also, shout out to Braden Fisk from LA as well. Like, he's had a great season too. Like, both of those guys, replacing Aaron Donald is no easy task. And when you can hit, when your first 2 picks in the draft are these guys that are going to be teammates for years, obviously it's like, even if they might not ever reach Donald's level of ability, if you can get, rookie of the year, Pro Bowl type, play from not just one guy but also 2 guys, like that's incredible. It's almost it's one of those things where you're not going to have maybe the generational talent that Donald was, but you can have 2 guys that are just going to be hell for offenses night in, night out. Like, you got to take that if you're LA. But for me, I'm going to lean again towards the secondary. I'm going to go to Philly for the defense, and I'm going to go with Quinyon Mitchell. DeJean and Mitchell, I like the both of them. I think that they're your number 1 and your number 2. For me, when I see DeJean, he's more of that ball hawk, that guy that's going to make the plays on the ball. But with Quinyon, he's going to be more of that guy that's that Patrick Surtain type. I want to say he had like 10 or 11 passes defended this year, which is towards the top of the league, if not the top. But he also, too, just the way he's been able to stick to wide receivers, he plays, again, kind of that underrated role where he's not going to, maybe pick the ball off as much, but he's going to do what he's got to do to make sure the receiver doesn't get his hand on the ball. And again, he's going to stick to his man really well. And again, this is the one time where I will kind of lean into the top defense and be like, yeah, because you've got 2 guys that are shutting it down. And, if one of the Rams guys wins it, or if DeJean wins it, I think any of those guys are equally deserving. But for me, I'm going to give that slight nod to being that shutdown corner that opposing quarterbacks don't really want to target because they're afraid that they're not going to get a completion on him at all.
I thought it was kind of interesting that Chomp Robinson was up for the award, considering that if you talk to most Dolphins fans, whenever they drafted him as I believe he was their first pick, everybody's like, what the hell are we doing? Who is this guy? We don't want this guy. And he ends up having a great year. Not my pick. I'm going to go with G Mike on this one as well. I'm going to go Jared Verse. As much as it pains me to say anybody from Florida State has talent, Jared Verse is the real deal. Seems like going forward that he's going to It's hard to replace Aaron Donald without a doubt. But if you can replace him with 2 guys that they drafted, and you're completely right on your analysis of the Rams. How about that? They went from having no draft picks to freaking landing 2 almost rookies of the year. And the Eagles did the same thing as well. So both scouting departments did a great job.
Eagles always draft well, though.
Yeah,
right.
Eagles draft well all the time.
Funny enough, too, with the Rams, they're 2 top picks, guys from Florida State. So you got 2 Knowles for the price of 1 right there. You guys
were just talking about how great the Eagles are in their scouting department. Guess where their GM went? That's right, Florida. He's a Florida guy. So, Howie Rose been going back to the Gators. Let's go, Gators. Anyways, having said that, I'm going to pick Jared Verse as my pick in here. I think that he did a fantastic job trying to replace what the production of Aaron Donald had.
Yeah.
So we'll go over this one more time as our picks, and just to let you guys know. So Mr. BC, go ahead first.
Going with Quinyon Mitchell, shutdown corner for the #1 defense in the league, Philly.
All right, I'm going to go Jared Verse from the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep, I got Jared Verse as well. That guy was phenomenal during the playoffs. If you guys haven't watched it.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. And now we're getting to the absolutely fun ones. We're going to stick with the offensive side of the ball now, and we're going to go with the offensive player of the year. And man, this one is going to be difficult. I think that Saquon Barkley should win this award. I kind of agree with you, BC, that Joe Burrow's probably got to eke one out of these, but you have to, I think, go with Saquon Barkley in this one because I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off of the MVP, but you have to give his season absolute credit for what he did. So I'm going to go give me some Saquon Barkley, man. G Mike, what you got?
I'm going to go with Jamar Chase because I think Barkley should get
Triple
MVP.
Crown.
But yeah, Jamar Chase got the Triple Crown. The Bengals weren't really anything in the first 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the season. They weren't really doing anything offensively. And then when they started lighting it up, Jamar Chase was the focal point of that offense. Yes, T. Higgins helped. Yes, they had the running backs help as well. But Jamar Chase was the focal point of that offense. He was getting about 10 to 15 targets a game and catching 95% of those passes and getting like 2-3 touchdowns a game. He was going completely crazy, getting so many yards, so many receptions, and there was no corner, safety, linebacker, any defensive player on any side of any team that could stop him.
Quick thought on the Bengals real quick. Why do you think it takes Burrow and the Bengals so many games to get going? Should he be playing in the preseason or something? Because Cincinnati, ever since Burrow's gotten there, almost now, granted, he's had a couple injury plague seasons, so that may be a factor or something in it. But why does it always take Burrow and the Bengals probably 4 games to all of a sudden get it going? And once they get going, they're damn near unstoppable. But have you guys noticed that almost every single year they start out really slow and put themselves in a hole that they're fighting to get back out of? Why do you think that is?
Offensive line issues, blocking.
You got the worst one in the league on there.
Yeah, they have one of the worst offensive lines in the league for the last 3 years. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They need to sign some people or get some better drafting.
It's just weird, right? You guys notice that, right? It's almost every year they seem like they put themselves. They're never first place. They're always fighting for a wild card spot. You know, you don't want to play them. Come play.
The mental thing too.
Yeah, that and their defense.
The defense was horrible, so it's hard to stop the other team from scoring it so much. They're in a tough division as well. Everybody in that division had a chance to make playoffs at one point during the season. It's a lot of things, man. It's a lot of things that go into that. I see what you're talking about. They do start off slow, 100%.
Yeah.
Here's the wild thing is we were just talking about how bad the defensive front of the Bengals was, but they also had a defensive player of the year candidate in Trey Hendrickson.
But that's
one player.
He's literally doing the whole load.
And it's their secondary that was the worst, actually. The secondary, they couldn't stop receivers from scoring.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing as well. Like when you're in a division like the AFC North, and we're just going back to offense real quick too, you've got so many teams that are so dominant up front, you're going to need to have a great offensive line. And when one of your starting players is literally won the Triple Crown in terms of for worst offensive lineman, like that you're just setting yourself up for failure at that point. And, I loved Alex Kappa when he was in Tampa, but I don't know what's happened. Like all that money went to his head when he signed with Cincy. He's just fallen off a cliff. He's been awful. So I agree with G-Mike. They need to, I think this year, if you're Cincy, you got to invest in some kind of offensive line help in the draft or in free agency, because this ain't cutting it for Joey Cool.
Yeah, sorry about that. I totally got us off topic on that one, but it's kind of weird. We'll go over more of the Bengals in the offseason or whatever. But all right, BC. I totally jumped on that one. What's your offensive player of the year?
I mean, I think that Jamar Chase should get it along with Joe Burrow, one of those two guys from Cincy, just because again, they literally were the whole reason why Cincy was in the playoff hunt right towards the end of the season. So one of those guys should win it, but again, it's going to be Saquon. It's just like with my comeback player of the year. It should be this, but it should be one of those two guys. But my prediction is it's going to be Saquon. Obviously, 2,000 rushing yards was closing in quick on Eric Dickerson's rushing record. I think that if you make history like that, if you join some kind of historical milestone club, you got to be included in that. But again, receiving triple crown, that's history too. So it's going to be a tough pick. But for me, I've got Saquon taking it home just based on narratives. He should be going up for the very last award, but I'm going to give it to Saquon here.
Yeah, I agree, man. Saquon, I don't. It sucks because that was my pick as well. It was Saquon. But it sucks for him that he had such an amazing season. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off for the MVP.
You better get one at least.
Yeah, he's got to get something. That season was absolutely ridiculous. The defense was one
award.
thing. Offense,
either this one or MVP.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. So we'll go and recap this one more time. Mr. BC, who do you got?
I would like to choose Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, but I'm going with Saquon.
I am going with Saquon Barkley as well. He absolutely deserves this this award.
I'm going with the Triple Crown winner, Jamar Chase of Cincinnati Bengals.
Fair.
Like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. All right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and move from that one to the rookie MVP. And this one was a wild year for rookies, man. How about Brock Bowers, man? So if you can't see it on the screen, you got Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, Brian Thomas Jr. And Brian Thomas Jr. had himself one hell of a year quietly because Jacksonville was kind of in disarray this year. But Brian Thomas Jr. put up some numbers. Brock Bowers breaking the tight end record. Jaden Daniels taking the team all the way to the NFC Championship game, and Malik Neighbors on a really bad team stood out. Bo Nix making the playoffs in his first year. All of these guys absolutely played lights out, but I think it's easy. It's easy to see that I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels in this one. Jaden Daniels took him to the NFC Championship game. Nobody expected that. The defense was horrible. I'm going Jaden Daniels without a doubt in this one. Mr. BC, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one. Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's almost always exclusively a quarterback award. I know Brock Bowers had a once-in-a-generation type season breaking the tight end receiving record, which, I mean, I think that should get him it. But, again, Jane Daniels popping off, whether it's rushing or passing, leading his team in the NFC title game. The story writes itself. Although, and I want to give a shout-out real quick. All these guys on the list are great, but there's one dude I think that in terms of popularity probably trumps them all, and that is Mr. Bucky Irving for sure. What he did in Tampa for sure, like the Bucky chants at the stands, and also too with the Ducky Irving. Like, come on, it just writes itself. Like I think he definitely should have been in on this list, but Jane Daniels, it's his award, and he's gonna take it home. I think relatively easy. A few votes for Brock Bowers.
All right, Mike, what's your pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I'm gonna go Brock Bowers, man, because he didn't have a quarterback out there that was really slinging the ball like that to really get him the ball, and no matter what, he was getting open. It's hard for linebackers in the league to really cover big tight ends and speedy tight ends and with sticky glue hands out there. And so he was doing a lot of work. The only I get why you would go Jaden Daniels, because he took the team to the NFC Championship and he had a phenomenal year. But if you look at the stats, Bo Nix had a better year than Jaden Daniels when it comes to passing yards and passing TDs and all that, if you look at the stats. So it's and he took his team to the playoffs as well. Obviously, NFC Championship is further than what Bo Nix was. But to me, the most impactful offensive rookie was Brock Bowers this year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's wild, man. That whole thing about, should these guys sit for a little bit and learn? Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix prove that if you got it, you got it, and I don't think it necessarily always takes that time to do it. I mean, the comparison with the two, Jaden Daniels threw 9 interceptions, Bo Nix threw 12. So they were, neck and neck with each other, pretty much almost the same completion rate. I just feel like Jaden Daniels was so much more impactful. But you could easily make the case for any of these guys. And what a rookie class this has been, honestly. And I think that's a very underrated point that you brought up about Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, who is it? Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, and me might have been throwing him passes, So the fact that he set records and the fact that he set records for tight ends in a position that normally your rookie year you don't thrive. It usually takes you 1 or 2 years because it's a very difficult position to learn. But Brock Bowers had one hell of a year, and Brian Thomas Jr. seems like the real deal too. As well as Malik Neighbors, man. I think all these I think we'll be talking about all of these guys for a long time to come. And it's not like a one-hit wonder with any of these guys.
Yeah, this is probably the best, if not one of the, or is one of the best, if not the best, offensive draft classes in a very long time. When you're this deep and there's still guys that you can pop off and name and rattle off, I think it goes to show as well why there were so many offensive players selected before defense in the draft this year.
Agreed. All right, so we'll go ahead and recap this one, and we got the big daddy of them all, the MVP, next. All right, Mr. BC, who is your pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Should be Brock Bowers, but I'm going to lean Jaden Daniels once again because the story and the narrative deems so. Dude was a stud throughout the season, and he took his team the distance compared to everybody else.
I'm going Jaden Daniels. I do agree with you that Brock Bowers is very, very good and very deserving of it and set records. But I just like the what Jaden Daniels is bringing to the Commanders. They haven't made the playoffs in God knows how long, and he had a hell of a year. Looked very poised and looked like he's the real deal. Mr. G. Mike.
I got Brock Bowers of the Las Vegas Raiders. What he did on offense this year with a QB3 at the position, in my opinion, was incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. And I think you're completely right that all of these guys are all very, very deserving of it.
Yeah. I love how like G Mike, like for me, I'm having to always preface my picks with should. G Mike's like, nah, I'm going with the guys that should. I'm picking the ones that are probably just for narrative sakes. G Mike,
why when you guys
sticking with your convictions, man. I love it.
Yeah, always.
That's why one of you guys is wearing a cowboy hat and the other one's not,
You know.
All right. So the big one of the main daddy, the big one of them all, we got the MVP. We got Mr. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson. All right, BC, state your case and who you got.
Well, before I do, again, you guys have been hearing it ad nauseum at this point. It should be either Saquon or Joe Burrow. History's on Saquon's side. Joe Burrow, I think, had the best passing season of all the quarterbacks on this list. But for me, I called it earlier on. The loser of the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson game was going to win MVP. The winner gets to go on to lose to Patty Mahomes in the AFC title game. Sure enough, both of them happen. Lamar is going to win the MVP, I think. Dude set career highs in passing statistics, passing touchdowns. Josh, I had a remarkable season as well for what he had, but I just think Lamar was more efficient during the regular season. Maybe didn't have as many rushing touchdowns, but had more rushing yards. Just in all other passing numbers, he led Josh in. So Lamar at this point, I think he's just accepted he's kind of a regular season guy for right now. So Lamar Jackson's going to be 3-time MVP.
Yeah, that's a damn good pick, man. We all know I'm the least favorite of Lamar on the show here. Lamar did actually prove me wrong that he is a absolutely elite quarterback. I'm not picking him as my MVP, and I picked in the beginning of the season Josh Allen to be my MVP. I'm gonna digress a little bit and go. I kind of think should be Saquon. Honestly, if you really go off of MVP and what they mean to the team, there was nobody more important than Saquon Barkley to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts had a mediocre year at best, but they are going to the Super Bowl, and it's all on the back of Saquon Barkley. Yep. The guy borderline backflipped over somebody. The guy just put up numbers and he should have had the rushing record. Smart that they didn't choose it to let him go out there and do it. I think Josh Allen absolutely could be MVP as well because of the same point I just made. If you take Josh Allen off the Buffalo Bills, what are the Buffalo Bills? But I loved watching Saquon. I think Saquon deserves it, but it seems like it always goes to quarterback. So, but I'm going to go Saquon Barkley. I think that he absolutely deserves it, man. G-Mike, what you got? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, just to kind of highlight as well with Saquon, how many of those tush pushes stole touchdowns from Saquon this year?
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
And
so that
Jalen Hurts has 14 rushing TDs, and I'm pretty sure 12 or 11 of those were tush pushes.
So we're looking at potentially like Sean Alexander LT type production this year.
Saquon Barkley literally could have had 20 or more rushing TDs
easily.
2,000 yards, 20 TDs, like that should have been his
crazy. He goes from a horrible offensive line with the New York Giants, and I don't know what the hell was in the right mind of not giving him an extension and not giving him his money. He's not a generational player. He's not a guy that you should pay. The running back position is horrible, blah, 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 blah. There's like 6 running backs that came out of free agency that turned whatever team they went to into playoff teams, guys.
Yep.
So if you guys think that running back position is long and gone, you guys don't watch the game of football, bro. Learn the game.
Yep.
Yeah. How about the resurgence of the running back this year as well, man? The running backs were so important. They proved exactly why they should have been paid. I don't remember a couple of years ago, it's like, oh, is the running back overrated? You can draft him anywhere. Yeah. Let's see the teams that didn't make the playoffs and what they all have in common.
Yep. And
they all
Saquon's proven. Of all the great running backs today, he's proven that
it's the quarterback and the running back for receivers. You see receivers get drafted, and we saw at least 2 on the offensive rookies. Like, dude, receivers can get anywhere. You can get them anywhere. Most of the time, you want to get them from LSU, but you can get them anywhere. You can get them anywhere,
for anybody that's saying that, oh, it's a quarterback-driven league and every other position is just second to that. It's like, yo, like these guys are showing otherwise. So you can still win in the league without an elite quarterback. Just look at Philadelphia and Saquon Barkley, who I think is the best running back you could probably say of this generation. So
yeah, I mean, to put a point on what you're saying as well, Ladd McConkey was a first-round draft pick, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there, first or second-round draft pick. The guy was a walk-on at Georgia. You can find wide receivers in a lot of different places. Just depends on how you use them.
Yep.
So my pick, I'm going Saquon Barkley. I'm going Saquon Barkley. 2,000 rush yards. He should have had 20 plus TDs. He got 11 or 12 of those taken away because of his quarterback doing the tush push, which I don't disagree with, because if it's a good play, it's a good play.
If it works, it works.
But exactly. Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
And don't knock him for that.
He went. The Eagles were a wild card team last season, barely making the playoffs, lost in the first round. Now they get a superstar running back, and they become one of the best teams in the league. They become one of the best rushing offenses in the league. Barkley is the primary focus of that offense. There has been at least like 6 to 7 games that Jalen Hurts only threw for 150 yards or under. Like, dude, like this guy led his team to what they're about to play the Super Bowl next week. And to me, man, he's the MVP. Yes, Lamar Jackson had an amazing year, an even better year than last year. And he does deserve the MVP as well. So does Josh Allen. That was my pick at the middle of the season, as well. But, dude, man, Barkley just took the throne throughout the last few weeks of the season, going into the playoffs, and now about to go into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, Jared Goff had himself one hell of a year, too. But no one's – Jared Goff, I think, is up there because of his consistency and what he did. He's not going to win. There's no chance I think Jared Goff is going to win. But you can't forget, Jared Goff had himself one hell of a year. I mean, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson do it differently than Jared Goff does. Jared Goff doesn't run, obviously, and those two definitely do. But for my pick, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley, man. I think what the dynamic that he brings to the team and what the actual MVP, what he actually means. And you said it exactly. He could have had over 20 rushing touchdowns if they weren't tush pushing it in. So I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley as my MVP. BC, what do you got?
It should be Saquon for sure. Not doubting that at all. And like I said, if we're going based off of should, I'd pick Saquon. But going based off who I think will win it, it's going to be Lamar. He's going to be he's going to have a 3-time MVP. And that's that. The narrative stands strong.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for our MVP award and all of the NFL awards. We are almost done with this, but for right now, we have our fun-filled segment of the Down Bad Debate. And we got a fun one here. If you can't see it on the screen, one must go who you cut. And you got Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patty Mahomes, and Mr. TB12 Tom Brady. BC, you're up top, my man. Who are you picking? Who's got to go?
I mean, out of all these guys on the list, only one of them has not won the NFL MVP, and that is going to be Drew Brees. I just think each of these guys brings something different to the table. Patrick Mahomes, the improvisation. Aaron Rodgers, the deep ball. Hail Mary. And then Tom Brady, you need a 2-minute drill to bring you back. He's your man. So Drew Brees, all respect in the world. But of all these guys in the league, they were always at some point the top dog in the league. Drew Brees just happened to just always be number 2 at best.
All right, well, I'm going to cut Tom Brady so Peyton Manning can be the greatest of all time. No, I'm just kidding. That's just for the Colts. I'm a Colts fan, if you didn't know. Damn you, Brady. No, if I had to cut anybody, my pick would probably be Drew Brees as well. Drew Brees is just ultra consistent, brought a lot to the game. But Aaron Rodgers had a different dynamic. I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan, but I would think that Drew Brees would be the one to have to go. I'm going Drew Brees. G Mike, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm going Drew Brees too, man. I like a quarterback that is of 6 feet or higher when it comes to height. I like a quarterback that is mobile, and Drew Brees is none of those. I mean, Tom Brady, he's not mobile, but he's 6'3", 6'4".
He was a little
Mahomes,
mobile in Tampa. He would busted it out every now and then.
the fuck out.
Yo, man, hey, I saw him bust a couple of like 15, 20-yard runs out in Tampa, man. You saw it in the Giants game. He like ran like 20 yards.
That's
Like,
cute.
Right.
That's the farthest I've ever ran in my career.
That's cute.
Rodgers and Mahomes are pretty mobile. I like that they'll get out of the pocket if they need to, but towards the end of Drew Brees' career, he'll drop back, and if it's not there, he's not really moving as much. You know, there's times that he ran. I'm not gonna say that he didn't, but I'm saying overall, he's not a mobile quarterback. He's under 6 feet, and for me, like I need a quarterback that's over 6 feet and that could be mobile. Obviously, he can pinpoint a pass. He can throw deep. He can throw short. His throwing accuracy is phenomenal. But again, I gotta take out Drew Brees here and keep the other three.
Is this the first?
All right, so just as a recap, real quick. BC, we're all going Drew Brees here, right? That's a universal.
Agreed, man. This is the first time we've ever agreed on a down bad debate. Like, you don't check your watches, check whatever. Like, you're not, your screen's not broken. We all agree for once.
All right, so just real quick on that one, on that graphic, real quick.
Yes.
On that graphic, real quick, if you had to choose out of these two up here, man, you got Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. Who would you cut out of those two?
No, I'm still cutting Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees. What do you mean?
Yeah. I'd cut Rodgers. I'd take Brees over Rodgers.
But that's because you don't like the guy.
Exactly.
Well, that's another side. No, but I mean, seriously though, I mean, like I feel like Drew Brees is a lot more consistent than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, let's face it. There's a few times that Aaron Rodgers could have ran it in, and he didn't. He chose to not. And Drew Brees isn't doing that. Drew Brees also wasn't as mobile as Aaron Rodgers. They bring different caliber offense to the table, but I would take the consistency of Drew Brees over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but just
I'll go on the. Sorry, go ahead, BC.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. See, the one thing I'll push back on is that though with Rodgers, he still proved that 4 MVPs, same amount of Super Bowls as Drew Brees. He was still the best in the league, and that's the one thing with Drew Brees we've never been able to say. We can't look to one season where we can say, oh yeah, Drew Brees is the best quarterback in the league. He's always been overshadowed by your Mannings, your Bradys, your Mahomes, your Breezes, and it's not his fault. He's a great pocket passer, but he just never had that one trait that really defined him, that separated him from everybody else. Other than, oh yeah, he's always thrown for a lot of yards, and that's great, but he's never been the best. So
I'll play devil's advocate here for Drew Brees, and he didn't have great receivers like that. He had Michael Thomas and Jimmy Graham. That's really it. That's really
Kamara maybe, but yeah, he's not even a wide receiver.
Kamara's not a wide receiver. Exactly. So I'll push back there, but I agree with BC, bro. Like, you got Aaron Rodgers 3-time MVP, Super Bowl winner, just 4-time. Okay,
yeah, 4-time MVP, 1-time Super Bowl winner.
Yeah,
and Brady, Drew Brees was only 1-time Super Bowl winner.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that was mostly because of that defense too. That defense,
that defense was trash, bro. Yeah, I think it goes Rodgers 4-time MVP, 1-time champ. Brady 3-time MVP, 7-time champ, and then Mahomes is like 2-time MVP, and then I think he's on like 4-time champ now or something close to that. Oh no, 3-time champ. Yeah,
about to be foe.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, we'll be getting into more of that next week for sure. Let's see. I was trying to see something. If Drew Brees was actually runner-up for MVP 1 time, I believe, and that was in the 2007 season.
Yeah,
I mean, they won.
No, he's never won.
I just thought that kind of. No. I'm saying the Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
No, that was 2009. I want to say
2009, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was against my Colts, and that kickoff play killed us. But having said that, we digress. That's fine. All right, fellas.
Did the Colts win before that or after that?
No, they won before.
Before that?
That was when they played the Bears in Miami. With the Devin Hester kick return. Dungy got
when was that? Like
2007? 06.
2007 is when Drew Brees was a runner-up for MVP.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, when did Peyton Manning win the Super Bowl with the Colts?
That was the 2006 season, I think.
It was 2007, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like it was around there.
Yeah, I'm just glad that Tony Dungy was finally able to get his Super Bowl that he deserved because he was, gosh, he was
2007 is when
Reggie Wayne too. Reggie Wayne, baby. Marvin Harrison, baby.
Bob Sanders.
Bob Sanders, what?
Yeah, man.
Joseph Adai. How about Joseph Adai? Come on, man.
God, bro. That team was crazy good. And even
Bob
the Bears.
Sanders,
The Bears were pretty good too, but I can't believe that's how you know you have a great defense. When you got Rex Grossman as your quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Sexy Rexy, man. He was a Gator.
Yeah, man. I was about to say, man. We're talking about elite Miami players on the Colts, and then we go to Rex Grossman on the Gators for the
Come on, man.
Bears.
Sexy Rexy, bro. He was a Gator.
Well, you had Devin Hester, and he made one of the most memorable Super Bowl plays ever.
Dude,
I remember
Steve,
as a Colts fan, I was losing my mind. All of a sudden, they kicked it to him, first play of the game, ran it back. I was like, it's over.
Like
it's
over. Steve, your track record with the Gators is not looking good when Sexy Rexy's your pick, and we're naming Bob Sanders, Reggie Wayne, and Devin Hester from Miami. Like, come on, dude. You gotta throw us a bone here.
Who was the running back?
For the Bears?
For the Bears.
That was Cedric Benson.
Was it Cedric Benson? I thought it was Forte.
Yeah, Forte was I want to say
Forte was years after that. He was with Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall.
But I remember Cedric Benson, the big power back for the Bears. That was their guy.
Yeah, but their team was straight defense. They had Charles Tillman, they had Brian Urlacher, they had Derek Brooks, I think, at that time.
No, Derek Brooks was the Bucks, man. That's Lance Briggs you're thinking of.
Lance Briggs,
Lance Briggs.
I was about to say, Derek Brooks ain't no Bears.
I thought he played for the Bears. My bad. I know he played for the Bucks.
Bro.
I know he played.
I was about to say, man, that dude was a Buck for life, man.
Yeah, what 2002 when you guys had that crazy defense, Warren Sapp.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was drafted the same draft Sapp was. Yeah, yep. Yeah, Rondé, John Lynch, Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, D. Brooks. Those guys are studs, man.
Bro, crazy.
Top
but
5
nothing's better than 2000 Ravens. Nothing is better than
we can go on this. We can go on this for hours.
We'll do this next week. Down bad debate. Top 5 defense of all time.
We gotta go. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this show up. We really appreciate all the viewers out there, people checking in. Like we were saying before, please give us a like and subscribe. Watch us on all the millions, the varsity sports. Please just give us a shout out whenever you can. G Mike, got anything for people before we go?
Yeah, guys, just please support us and give us your subscription on YouTube at least. If you could just do one action for us, let it be that one, por favor. And give us a little love, show support, and we will show it back. If you need something from us, please slide in our DMs. And if you guys want to come and talk smack on the show as well, we'll put you up on the screen, or not just come into the chat. We'll put your comment up on the screen just like this, letting you know. And bro, we gonna have a good time. Let's get it.
Yeah, man.
DC, you got anything?
Nah, man. I mean, like G Mike said, like, subscribe, share, get the podcast out there. We're almost at 100 subscribers right now. It's gonna be a big deal once we reach triple digits. And just real quick though, quick shout out to Osceola Magic, Osceola Ranchers for the sick jersey hookup right there, man. Bringing it in a Western night. If you guys, again, just for fun, if you guys are looking for a good, something to do on a weeknight, catch yourself some G League basketball here in Central Florida. We got the reigning G League MVP Mac McClung, soon to be 3-time in a row slam dunk contest champ. Ooh, spoiler alert. It's a good time out in Osceola. So if you guys are out there, and I run cameras, so if you come see me, put you on, it'll be a great time.
Yeah, I'm going to the UCF game later. UCF against BYU basketball, baby. 4 p.m.
There we go. All right. Well, for views from the stands, I am Steve V. We got G, Mike, and Mr. BC. We appreciate all the love and support you guys give us. Stay safe out there. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Peace.